Hey, 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 all you happy lost souls. How y'all doing out there? I hope cheerful and well. And if not, I hope you still have some hope in your heart, even though there's some desperation in hope. We gotta have it. Um, anyways, this video is like a little different. I throw one of these out there every now and then. I used to call them like Ron's Ramble. Um, but they're more of just like thought experiments, philosophy, things that I think deeply about. And I've always really been fascinated with the concept of reality. What is existence? Um, and are we in a simulation? Are we in a bunch of programs that are overlaid on top of each other? That's what dimensions are. Um, I won't get specific with some of my experiences only because YouTube is very sensitive to any kind of psychedelic type discussions. But let's just say there's certain things out there that, if taken correctly, are like a key to a different place. I call it the omnipresence. Now I'm going to get pretty deep here. I've had a lot of physical trauma in my life. Smashed in the head with a golf club when uh, I was like 14 or 15 when that happened, and almost killed me. Then I shattered my arm horrifically. I was a really, really good ice hockey player when I was younger. I was like ranked, all that. Even had some scholarship offers, and I think it was like 10th grade. I was just in a public skating session, and the fashion back then were like these jeans called Jenkos, like kind of like skateboarders wore these really baggy jeans, and we used to walk to the ice rink, and they were frayed. And I was getting off the ice actually just to get a drink. This wasn't a game or anything. We were just at public skating where we did a clinic with a guy, and I was getting ready to get off the ice, and I just caught my jean with my blade, and I fell really awkwardly right on my elbow. I was a scrawny kid back then, so my elbow pretty much exploded. Some of the doctors wanted to amputate it. They had to call some specialist in. They put it back together with about 30 some pieces of metal, 32, I think, 33. A bunch of plates, titanium screws, all that. It sucks. It caused all kinds of nerve damage issues and complex pain syndromes and all that. So what I like to do to get through that is I like meditate and go into thought experiments, difficult things that probably have no answer, they're so deep and profound that our little mushy brain selves can't get to that final point or answer. So because I digress when I do these, I'll continue where I left off. Anyways, the golf club, when I got hit with the golf club, I died a little bit, right? And then I went to this place. I'll just call it the omnipresent. And it's extremely hard to describe, to relay the experience of it. But let's just say I went back to this same exact place, and I call it a place because that's what it is. It's always the same when you go back. It's not like a different chemical, different experience or something like that. It's like a key, a door opens, and you're in a different space or time or dimension. And we'll get into my feelings and all those words and how they mean what they mean and don't mean, because they do a lot of fancy math to try to prove the BS that they're spewing. I mean, they're all great ideas. That's why theoretical physics is awesome. You can throw a lot of shit out there, but then you got to try to prove it with math. I'll leave that up to the math wizards. I just like to speculate and to postulate. I more like the philosophy of it. And remember, I'm doing this to pretty much meditate through pain and stuff like that. I don't like to do any kind of heavy painkillers or anything like that. I'm actually really opposed to them. Um, I get by with a more herbal diet, let's just say. um, but yeah. So what is this place that it takes you to? I don't have perfect memories of it. It's very hard to translate, but um, you meet a bunch of copies of yourself. Um, there's no time. Time is only linear to humans because we have a lifespan. And this is the thought experiment that I'm going to take you into. And I've done this before, but this is my simple meditation. And this is how I get into it. I say, hey, what if somebody came and granted me the gift of immortality? I'm talking like complete immortality. Someone knocks your head off, it grows back. You can't, you're completely immortality bubble field, whatever. That's the hypothetical. And you live forever. Okay? So time does not matter. You're indestructible and forever. Crazier than a diamond. So in this crazy hypothetical, I say that I'm 1,000 light years away. And your buddy hits you up somehow from thousands of light years away and says, hey, I got that same gift. I can live forever and never die, and I'm immortal just like you. Oh, cool. Well, let's hang out. Well, I don't know about you, buddy, but my planet, we only got hot air balloons, and we haven't really advanced too far. I mean, yeah, we're at about the same level here on our planet too, boss. We got hot air balloons. I mean, slow and steady, right? Well, then hypothetically, you hop in your air balloon, and it doesn't matter how long it takes you, because forever is not a thing. When you're immortal and you live forever, we knock time out of the equation. You just have to have a lot of patience, and you'd have one hell of a journey. But you can do it. My point about this is time is not linear when you take out immortality. So the fact that we are mortal beings and we are aware and cognitive of that, everything gets a value system based on that. Seconds, minutes, hours. We get paid upon it. Paid on that value system as well. So we have to sit back and say, oh wow, time is a construct. But then what happens if we take that same construct and apply it to all the math behind the crazy things we're trying to prove? There's going to be some flaws, because inherently there's flaws in the fundamental nature of this argument. How do you view time? Do we view time as distance? How long does it take me to get from here to there? And that's what we call like speed and acceleration. But what if we take time out of the equation? Then what are we measuring? This realm is forever. It's omnipresent. Everything that ever happened is always happening. All the gods of ancient times, all the demigods, all the Hindu gods and spirits and characters, all of those are there. All of the Greek and Nordic and Christian figures, they're there. There's little technical beings walking around working on electronical stuff everywhere. And I think some people call them like the elves or the gnomes, because what's really weird is other people that have had both near-death experiences and let's just say psychoactive or psychedelic experiences, or extremely deep meditative experiences through just extreme dedication and technique. You got to really want to do that to get into that altered realm. But tribes and different cultures and the shamans and religious leaders of these different groups all throughout history have found ways to do this, either with rhythmic drum circles, chanting, by using the knowledge of plants and biochemical engineering, the plants around them, to create keys to get to this realm. Our ancestors knew all about it, and they encouraged the use of these things. I do as well, but not in the sense of a recreational thing, but as a sense of growth and exploration. And also, I think some of them have extremely positive effects on degenerative brain diseases like Alzheimer's and things like that, especially psilocybin and mushrooms, which I'm very well studied in. So, but like I said, I'm going on a tangent. So we established in this thought experiment that time isn't a thing, because we can live forever, and it doesn't matter how fast our balloon is, it can still get there. Time is not linear, and every decision made, every indecision made, splits off in this place. So the thought of multiverse is happening, but it's happening in a different way. These versions or copies of yourself are in your own reality, stored within this larger reality. These are like vast hard drives or storage units, if you're going to compare it to a computer. And if you want to get deeper with it, we're all encoded with DNA that is unique to us as individuals, but also links us to larger connections and through our genetics. This DNA, this code, if we apply it to like a computer or a program, it's essentially like a tracking device or indicator that allows the larger substrate or operating system to identify unique entities upon their server, essentially, in case they need to deal with them or locate them. It all gets very, very creepy if you get too deep. It gets into like kind of the Matrix idea almost, but even deeper, because who's running the program? Who's running the machine? Well, it's God. It's that thing that science is afraid to talk about. It's whatever made it all. Because as creators, as intelligent beings, as we are as humans, we know that we have this inherent urge to create, build, and manipulate everything around us, to advance it, to make it better. We got tired of our own brains, so we started making AI, because we're like, oh, we have limitations and we can't answer the questions I'm getting into. So let's build supercomputers and feed it the knowledge of everyone and everything and see if we can get answers. But maybe that's the road that other civilizations went down, and we're just being controlled by some crazy greater AI now. Who knows? It's like becomes a Russian doll paradox. One larger doll, smaller one inside that one, smaller one in that one. And you just never know when it ends. That type of thing. But I think about these things deeply. I drift off into thought so deeply that I forget that I'm in pain. And that's how I get through a lot of the physical pain. If anyone else has chronic pain issues, that's one of my techniques anyway. But I have this other crazy notion, and it's this idea of like, what's gravity? We can't figure it out. We can see that gravity is it's when mass acts upon it, we can see gravity. So it's an effect. But what is the substrate? What is the dark matter? What is how are the planets spinning? How is things stuck in the places they're in? Well, there's big suns and black holes with huge gravitational forces. So it's something pulling on a fabric, creating a force that we can see and measure. We don't really know what it is because we don't understand the fabric. Some people call it like dark matter just because they just don't know what it is. But I think I know what it is, and I'm not the first one to think this. Einstein got into this a little bit. Some Russian scientists got into it in the Cold War. I think it was Kosakev or Kosalev's mirrors. It was a crazy, physicist who expanded upon Einstein's ideas of time and space and it being a fabric, but he said it was being twisted, and that is called torsion. But what it really equates to is that dark matter, that substrate. And the argument is space can't be a vacuum because light can travel through it. So light just can't travel through nothing. There has to be a substrate, even though we can't figure out what it is. The substrate is time itself. The thing holding everything together is time. It's not linear, but time is its own energy. Time is the dark matter. Gravity is the effect of torsion. It's the effect of mass on time's energy. And you can say in that respect that effect, that twisting, creates information. So gravity is encoded information. It is the programmed response to different things acting upon the substrate of time. No, it's very deep. It's hard to wrap your mind around because most people are still thinking of time as like the ticking clock. But that's not what time is. Time doesn't care about lifespans. It's not a value system. Time is the substrate. And as time goes on, the universe gets bigger because the universe is time itself. Light is traveling through time. But time is growing faster than light can travel. And that's why there's a spot in the universe where light dies. Our universe is 15 billion years old. And it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and stretching and twisting. Because it's time moving forward. So, and this is all done, torsion's all done in the sequences of 3. Like Panacci's principle, like if you look at like all things in nature, like the inside of a conch is perfectly like a perfect spiral, 3 by 3 by 3, the way plants grow, and they're, you know, perfect. Everything in nature is in segments of 3. And this is why Nikola Tesla used to say the secret of the universe is in the number 3, because it's torsion. It goes 3, 6, 9, 12, and so on and so on. The space between each twist in each spiral of time. So it's 3 degrees, 6 degrees, 9 degrees, 12 degrees, 15 degrees, 18 degrees, forever expanding outwards into a forever growing universe. But the time itself is contained, because there's more than one universe, because there's more than one timeline, because every time anything has a choice to make, this program that we call life in existence has to account for every decision we might make, because it's a program, it's a simulation. So essentially, if I go to the corner and I think I'm going to go right, and then all of a sudden I have to go left, there was a reality that I had to go, that I went right. The universe, the program has to account for that. So it creates a whole nother reality, a whole nother universe, a whole nother timeline, where I'm going straight, or I'm going right, I mean. And you get the gist. But the program knows that all these universes just can't keep going on and on. They have to run within another universe. So they're pre-programmed, those timelines. And they're in layers. And these are the dimensions. Within a single universe, there's layered universes. But these layered universes are contained. They're like running in a loop. And when you slip into this afterlife situation, or wherever these gifts from God or these powerful plants take you, or the powerful meditation takes you, whatever door you slip through, you get to see it all, and like the curtain gets pulled back, because everything that happened is always happening and never happened. That's what's going on. All possibilities and no possibilities. It's a very intense encounter, and it's extremely hard to describe. But what it does do is it takes away the fear of dying in a lot of respects, because that's where you're going to go when your timeline ends. So everything's like, that's that. You're just recycled, essentially, but you never go away. I don't know what kind of consciousness you're still going to have in that reality after you pass through, but my experience, I did. It was just a mind-blowing one. I don't really want to get too much into that, because like I said, it's extremely hard to describe. It's just extremely profound and life-changing. It was very positive for me. I've had a lot of physical trauma, brain, head injuries included. Played hockey a long time, and I got hit with that golf club like I was talking about. It almost took me out. So I did them for therapeutic reasons. When I was younger, going through college, and I got a little crazy with some stuff, but and did things recreationally, but never super crazy. But I didn't want to always be curious about something. I'm also into anthropology, archaeology, and all the stories of the different shamans and the different mind altering states that they would figure out how to put themselves into to get to these realms. And this is happening forever throughout human history. I figured, there has to be a reason why we're doing it, why it's important. You don't do those things all the time. They're powerful gifts. You gotta respect them. But anyways, guys, that's like a deep ramble, and I love you all, and I thank you all for your support. And if it's not your thing, these kind of philosophical, deep conversations, that's cool. There's all kinds of stuff out there. You can find anything out on YouTube. So, anything you want. There's a lot of BS out there too, but I just try to keep it real. Try to talk about some interesting things that I think about. Today was more of a discussion to who's ever listening. A thought experiment that I often do. Anyways, guys, like, comment, tell me what you think. Tell me what you guys do to meditate or to get into a spiritual zone, or if anyone else out there has like chronic pain issues, what they've found. Anything not to have to rely on like narcotics all the time to get through is probably a better path. But anyway, guys, I love you. Please subscribe. And yeah, peace out until next time. If you're lost, just try to stay happy, because it's usually in those times that you find yourself. Peace.